basically blowing up the roster coming into the Esports World Cup and potentially the 2025 CDL season. I mean, look, you and I, we're biased Challengers casters here. Basically a Challengers team.
Yeah, I mean, Feekle even said it at the start. He's like, hey, we got 2 Challenger teams in our groups. I mean, they feel confident in leaving their groups unscathed right now, but this Boston team is not anything that you really want to overlook if you're the Heretics heading into this group. We talked about, you know, maybe how humble Method Sick was when he was talking about them, how, you know, every team is a threat. You don't want to take them, you want to take it one step at a time, realistically. And I think for Boston, you want to do the same because, I mean, this is that honeymoon roster for Boston Breach where things have not been going well for you all season long with the multiple changes that you have been making. But with Snoopy, the designated survivor of Old Boston, getting another chance here at EWC to represent their organization, to represent the franchise, and it's going to be bringing us in towards Rio Hardpoint. I think Snoopy's going to be that guy that has to turn up.
Yeah, absolutely, he will have to for the Boston Breach, of course. We're wasting no time, folks, getting into our 3rd match of the day here on the B broadcast. Team Heretics taking on Boston Breach. We're getting right into the Rio Hardpoint. And already off the start of this one, Boston Breach, they impress for the first bit of time. Team Heretics, though, they're fighting back.
Yeah, one thing that I'm really excited for about this Boston team is Purge joining it and the nuances that he brought to that Las Vegas roster alongside that Omen Brooklyn roster. It just goes overlooked from a lot of teams, and hopefully that Purge back in towards a CDL team and maybe level up yet again. Here we're seeing Boston in control of the time, 29 seconds. But on rotation is going to be Team Heretics, who got that early setup towards P1, but nothing to show for it. So hopefully they can put this P2 to test.
Yeah, you're happy with this if you're Team Heretics. Yeah, you've lost the vast majority of the time off the back of P1, but you know that you can hold P2. Snoopy is red. Good trade from Metals to make sure that Snoopy doesn't do anything dastardly towards the flank. Feekle pushed all the way up here towards Garage side. Will find one. Goal will be made on towards Wake as well. Middle of the map pressure looking pretty good from Metals. Every single angle at this point in time being watched by Heretics.
Real pops up, gets one. He's going to be able to ward off this first wave attack from Boston, and Heretics going to be able to flip this time, but the spawns in the back for Boston, so they're going to get another look at this early.
Yep, read is good. It's going to be lucky going to deal with it. He gets shut down by Purge. Cammy able to double up towards the point, and those back spawns being gifted from the COD gods will give Boston Breach control of the back 15 seconds. Purge now might actually win some of these rotational battles as well. Purge will get the team shots in. Snoopy will actually be the one credited with the kill against Metals, but Purge does a lot of damage there. Boston Breach now on their way towards the rotation. They're starting to get a look at it.
Yeah, if Boston breaks this, that is red alert for Team Heretics because the Breach, they are off to a good start here on Rio. Snoopy's going to slide in for the contest. Nice shots from Real, but the backup from Cammy and Purge is going to allow the Breach for a chance at fighting this one. 3 go down. Last one up is going to be Lucky in the back. He has to play his life and hope for some reinforcements. It's a foot race to get back to this hill.
Yeah, you got to look at a couple of different directions, though. If you're a Boston Breach here, there's going to be a chance to overwhelm for your Team Heretics, and that's exactly what happens. So now a moment to breathe. For really the first time since the beginning of this Rio Hardpoint, Feekle going to push out towards the middle of the map here. Player that's been solid for Team Heretics this season, stepped up a notch at Champs, despite the fact that the hardpoint was far from gracious for Heretics there, but he will get shut down now. Awakening finds 2 also. That's Metals. He would have been the player responsible for scrap time. Real now starting to do some damage towards the middle of the map, but the fact that Boston Breach have approached the scrap time means that Real is forced back towards the point. Lucky with the TK is not going to help the situation. Ultimately, it is going to be Lucky, I believe, that does manage to get in for scrap time, but Boston Breach are doing a really good job at keeping Heretics out of it.
And that man that we just saw in the pit, Real, who comes in late to this Team Heretics roster after losing his spot on Carolina Royal Ravens. He has been such a good look for the Heretics. And again, you look at him to be that difference maker here in the hard point. So looking to see him heat up and hopefully look to turn things around for Heretics. And into P4, they're looking to threaten it.
Yeah, Real going to double up. Big kills for Team Heretics. Now on 2 in a row is Real. Things will settle down once again. Boston Breach reliant on a potential flanking play from Purge. Shots being made out towards Feekle. Real still looking to take any of the players that approach. Purge is still not activated. Didn't quite check Feekle in the corner there. Kills also now being won towards the front of the point. Boston Breach waited for so long to Purge to activate. He's not able to get it done. Metals now with a streak in the back pocket as well. He finds himself on 3 in a row towards old time. A huge hardpoint for Heretics.
Yeah, that streak's going to be big as well for Rio, and how open this map is for later on the Heretics. If they need to break it, they have that tool, but what a way to break that hill and hold it for majority of the time. Now leading 99-77. It is quite the lead for Team Heretics. They're going to get the initial as well over towards P5 with that setup, and Vehicle push way far forward.
Kills now for Boston Breach. They're starting to encroach once again. This is a huge break, but it's a break back coming through from Boston Breach. Real, the designated survivor here, over by Old. He's going to get shut down. Metals is actually going to utilize the streak here. A big play call from Team Heretics.
I think that is a little bit of a miscall from the Heretics. No need to use a streak when nobody's in the hard point. Still looking to fight for this one is Boston now that the streak is gone, and Cammy looking to soak up a little bit of the time. Metals going to keep it open for now, but it's Purge's turn to hopefully dance for this. Lots of presence from Team Heretics all in and around this as they have the middle of the map under control right now for Heretics. They're going to take one last look at this and hope to dominate the rotations anew.
Yeah, Wake's trying to play his life in here, especially if you lose Cammy in this situation. Fair play to Wake for playing his life for as long as humanly possible here, but Heretics now, I think, starting to take root in this game. Big questions back at Champs as to whether or not their hard point was a big problem. Of course, they didn't win a single one. They got close to a number of games. They just couldn't finish them out. Right now in the lead in this one. Lucky wants to try and get some damage through the middle of the map. He will pick up 2. Real now following up. Slide Chow out for not just 1. Actually, he will only pick up 1. Metals is the one to finish that second gunfight. Now looking for the second. Snoopy will trade things out, but Heretics have found their way through.
And Real 19-10, so holding on to this one. Vehicle pops up. He's going to have the help of Metals. Renetti's out, but the kill not found. Lucky trading, but it's still a bloodbath on point. It is not going to be Boston walking away with that clean time just yet. You still need to throw some reinforcements here for your both sides. And at the moment, Boston, they have the better spawns for that P2 setup. You can start to see some of the Breach making their way over towards that hot dog stand. See if they can lock things down on their side. But Cammy barrels his way back over towards P1. Boston going to sink their feigns here over towards P2. Now with a 30-point deficit. See if they can close this lead.
Yeah. Purge is also red Vehicle here in the situation. I think the entire play, the Vehicle at this point, is to try and draw the attention of Boston Breach in his direction. Only Cammy will bite, though, for yet another kill and what I believe is still a streak going. Boston Breach dealing with the damage around the front. Real finds 2, but no more than that. Yeah, Cammy is now on 5 in a row, so if they can earn a cruise missile, Boston Breach should be to the good hit. Now looking for control. Snoopy jumping up to one of the chief spots. Team Heretics on the front at this point. Also keeping an eye on a potential backline. Purge made the wrap before. He's probably going to do it again. This time it's actually Cammy looking for the cruise missile. He will actually find it. So he's got one ready to go, but Snoopy towards the front of the point is doing enough damage. Boston Breach, they hold.
Yeah, they flipped lead as well after this P2 rotation, getting almost all 60 seconds of this hard point and into P3. We remember last time in the first set of rotations, Boston were playing from the outside in, and they managed to find that break within the first 5 seconds of this hill opening. They're looking to do it again, this time around the back side of it, but looks like Lucky's done enough to ward them off for now.
A lot more to do. Wake on 5 in a row. There's a big shutdown. Wait for the second. Shot's looking good if you're lucky, and I don't think Wake's going to take that one. No real reason to, especially if you're isolated. Wait for a little bit of help from your teammates to come so they can be the distraction towards your streak. Wake will find that kill against Vehicle, who tried to make the wrap through boxes. Gunfights, though, for the most part, being won by Heretics here until the SMGs for Boston Breach find some value. Snoopy has had a relatively slow game, but through the last few hardpoint, he's now been going off the Semtex stick for yet another one. Snoopy is now starting to beam.
Yeah, Snoopy's heating up at just the right time for Boston Breach. Cammy is also alongside him, 22-19. Some major turnaround here for Boston after P2 in the second set of rotations, and now with their lead growing by about 30. Over towards P4, this Boston Breach squad has been on top of these breaks, and looks like Cammy's going to invest this streak. They want to use it to break it from both sides of the hill.
Yep. This is it right here. If you use this streak, you get control of a hill that can be a money hard point. This is huge, but you're not going to find any value whatsoever, and Heretics are actually going to win the gunfights off the back of it. Wake will find 1. No more than that. Shut down where the Boston Breach streak doesn't work.
Yeah, that is a big moment from Heretics. They work the extremities. They clear out those players, even finding Cammy at one point, but another streak coming in for this time from Awakening. It's going to force Heretics off and give Boston a second chance at this P4 Purge. Finding Metals. Cammy going to double down. Everybody dies from Heretics at Boston Break. Now looking for 220 points at the end of P4 and a potential to win it on P5.
Yep, your Boston Breach. You're already starting to get control of the rotation as well. Purge is trying to get something going from the middle of the map. Unfortunately, a bit of lag there, I believe it was. Real will catch him off guard. So Heretics are winning some of these opening gunfights, and the fact that they now do not have a cruise missile means that they won't have one ready to go for the break. Now looking to win the opening engagements. Our team Heretics, lucky, first few shots, not all that great. Fortunately, Vehicle is there to pick up where he left off. Purge the only one that gets through. That's a clean wipe from Heretics.
And the biggest thing is nobody dies from Heretics, so their setup is still good to go. Nobody has to move. You just push even further forward to punish the players off spawn, and Metals is going to do just that. Real watching through mid. Everybody from Boston just funneling from the front.
Oh, the kill's good. Vehicle shots, not that great, to be honest with you. It's so difficult in the fight, but you're ultimately still trading here in the situation. One player to contend with. Purge will slide out for the kill on towards Metals. Real, 5 in a row. Big kill for the streak. Purge will shut down. Boston Breach can still finish it here. Still looking for the contest. Heretics need to dive towards the point. That's exactly what they do. Snoopy for the double. Cammy for number 3. Doesn't matter if Boston do it here. They could still close out with P1 control.
Yeah, they have middle map. They have everything to close out this Rio. Purge is here, and he is ready to watch these players as they slide up the escalators. Contention is in. Awakening's going to find the first one, and now it's go time for the Heretics to try to hold on.
You gotta go, but you run straight into the AR lineup of Boston Breach, a Rio hardpoint team through and through. And Boston Breach show out in map number 1. The former Challengers lineup of Omit Brooklyn there, joining Boston Breach, supercharging the franchise here ahead of the map number 1.
And that's everything that you needed to see cook up for Boston to take that as well. We're seeing Cammy heat up in the AR, just dominating throughout the entire map and into the back. Second rotation and third rotation, it was Snoopy working through the middle of the map and complete takeover time over towards P3. They get those streaks in P3, Brody, and they just work their magic across the rest of the hills, using those streaks to deny Heretics any time on the hard points, and then gaining a lead that I don't think the Heretics could just keep up with in the end. So that's a fantastic look from Boston, who have made this change, taking a shot in the dark at this Omit Brooklyn team that lost in second place at Challengers Champs, but now 3 out of 4 of them working in towards this Boston Breach roster. They start their tenure with a win.
That is a big win for the new Boston Breach lineup. Of course, a lot of questions about this team. I think a lot of people don't know, right? I think a lot of people know what these players individually are capable of on this new Boston Breach lineup. I mean, for anybody who's been paying attention to CDL over the course of the last year, you'll know what Cammy, what Wake, and Purge are capable of. They've all played on CDL teams at the start of the 2024 season. Unfortunately, they were swiftly removed from them and had to kind of battle their way back through the passion pit. They've done that now on this Boston Breach lineup. You know, they've looked so good. They look good there in that map number 1. They're proving like they should be on these franchise teams.
One of the biggest things to kind of take away from these players coming from Challengers in towards Boston is how good their search looked back at Champs, Brody. Yeah, it wasn't the best in the Challengers Champs finals, but in total throughout that weekend, these are players that can play this game mode and really support Snoopy to do what he does best, and that is just get up in the face of these opponents and really slay out. So heading into this Highrise search and destroy for a map number 2, Boston was atrocious throughout the CDL when it comes down to their game, the search and destroy game mode. But now with this change up, and you're adding, you know, the Mind of Purge, the ARs of Awakening and Cammy, this is Boston who are looking to make some serious damage against Miami and really show exactly, you know, why they've made this change.
Yeah, I think it is important to kind of refer back to the Challengers finals. Again, we can only really talk about this in a capsule to a certain extent, right? I mean, ultimately, Challengers Championships is a very different thing entirely to, all of a sudden you're facing Team Heretics, right? I mean, it's a totally different ball game entirely. And yet still, I think we can take away something from the Search and Destroy for the former Omit Brooklyn squad, who now are effectively the brand new look Boston Breach side. In the Search and Destroy, I mean, generally speaking, they've been a pretty good roster in Search and Destroy over the course of the 2020 2024 Challengers season, at least since this roster, since those 3 players that had moved from Omit Brooklyn to Boston Breach had formed on that Omit Brooklyn side. But yet we do go to the grand finals where they kind of got decimated in the Search and Destroys versus Law, and it proves that they can play relatively uncharacteristically, right? I mean, it's a roster that were, I mean, you and I got a chance to watch it just kind of to refresh our memory yesterday, and in the Search and Destroys, there were just so many moments, I think, where they were getting overheated, they were over-choweling, the mid-round adjustments were not there in the same way that they were for Law, they were failing to read them. Team Heretics are the kind of team to take advantage of that. They've looked good in the back half of the CDL season in Search and Destroy.
And it's a little bit different because when you're playing against Lore, it's a very slow roster. They're going to pick you apart. They're going to watch and, exploit your weaknesses. I don't think Miami is one of the same. I mean, you're going to have a lot of players on this Miami roster that also want to kind of match you in that pacing and that play style. And I think when you kind of now have Snoopy let off the leash here at EWC within that sub role, this is where it's going to be fun to watch Snoopy really in his own element. He knows that heading into EWC, he has something to prove. And inside of that hard point, you started to see him turn up towards the end of that Rio. I would like to see it continue for this Boston roster. I'm still looking at Snoopy to be that player to open up the rounds for these first bloods on Boston, but you're playing up against a really tough player in Real who is also playing good on that Rio hardpoint, and he's repping a 2.10 KD in Search and Destroy over the course of the season of Miami Heretics, and he has just been unreal with an 87% opening duel win percentage.
Yeah, these first bloods, I think, are going to be everything as we get in towards this one. Again, it's something that I definitely think going back to Challengers Champs, that Omit Brooklyn roster was struggling with. Does that change with Snoopy? I think it is the bottom line for me, and I don't necessarily think that it will. But this Omit Brooklyn team, or former Omit Brooklyn team, I knew that I was going to keep on referring to Omit Brooklyn because we're kind of conditioned right off the back of Challengers to just kind of look at them like that. But no, they are now the Boston Breach side. This Boston Breach side, back when they were Omit Brooklyn, they were kind of really struggling. Win Search and Destroy at Champs on that grand final, but back in season 3 they were dominant. They just were not losing them. So that's what they're going to want. Go on.
Back in season 2, Cammy and Wake were Boston Academy. This is a team that has represented this namesake of Boston before, and obviously Boston trusts them to do it again here in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's see whether that Omit Brooklyn Search and Destroy will show through here on Boston Breach, or whether or not it will be the Grand Finals version of the roster. As we get into a high-rise Search and Destroy. First blood already going the way of Boston Breach. Team Heretics looking for a response. They're probably going to find it by way of Real, but he gets read by Wake. Metals towards the site also is not going to be expecting that positioning from Snoopy, and all of a sudden now it's Vikal. 1 versus 4. You know he's going to be playing relatively passively. He finds 1. No more value than that. That's fast from Boston.
Yeah, one of the most uncharacteristic things that you see from Snoopy is he pumps the brakes on the B side. He just sits back and waits for Metals to make that misplay and not check his corners. So Boston come out with a relatively thorough attacking round to hit that B zone with caution. And I think, at the Team Heretics, they were expecting them to go fire with fire, but that is not the case anymore with this Boston team. This is a new look Boston team.
Boston, refreshed, blew it up. They've got this brand new lineup here for EWC and potentially the future beyond that as well. Team Heretics now going to give a different look to Boston Breach here. Granted, they're now the ones on the offense. They're expecting over-aggression. That's exactly what they get. They know that Snoopy can kind of overheat at times. Good read from Real for that first blood.
Yeah, and you see Purge trying to work up towards top Propane. I think he was spotted by Lucky. But Heretics are taking a while to make any moves on the map. A lot of map positioning giving up towards Boston Breach. And this zone's going to be a little tough to break. Now Cammy's going to get that information that players are still in and around Green Tarp. Real now going to look to make the play.
He's going to make it. Kill versus Awakening. Looking for the second. Somehow Real gets away with that. And now looking for the ace in the round. It will be denied. Heretics, though, nonetheless managed to steal it away.
Yeah, Real making the big plays right there with the MCW of all guns up close like that. Not easy shots to hit, but he makes it look very easy. And again, he is that player to look at for Search and Destroy on Team Heretics. And as an answer back on the offensive side with patience from Team Heretics, they post up, they let Snoopy make that mistake, draw that first blood. As soon as Snoopy goes down, suddenly the rest of Boston, they also have to move forward to deny that map control from Team Heretics. And Heretics, they just make it work.
All right, well, they're looking for the first blood in this round. Not going to find it. An immediate challenge from both teams over by B Street. Real and Metals will get the better of a couple of players there from Boston Breach. Team Heretics now looking for some kind of control. Boston Breach here. Down to the final two players. Things will slow up significantly as they look for a way back into the round.
Oh, look at this. Oh, the timing for Real, he just misses. The player going up to Propane. Purge is going to be sent packing from that engagement. And Real now looking to reposition. It looks like Heretics are flipping this map completely, and Boston are trapped over towards this B zone. Awakening might have to just shoot their way out of it, but he is going to back on down. There is nowhere that Boston can go right now.
You need Purge to win that fight against Vehicle. That's tough. Now Wake, you know where he is. Wake has to find a route here. I mean, there's a ton of them to take on Highrise. Unfortunately, he is going to get ganged up on there by Boston Breach, who once again... I mean, I think that round, to be honest, just kind of falls apart there for Team Heretics, and the fact that they don't win those opening bloods. Or for Boston.
Yeah, I think for Boston, this kind of goes back to what we were saying they were struggling with against Lore back in the Challengers Finals. As soon as they lose those first bloods, Brody, they don't really have any second choices in what they want to do. They continue trying to pave some way and force their ideals into that round. And this Miami team is not going to let you get away with that at all. They're going to punish you for making those mistakes. And you saw Real and Vehicle both repositioning all the way around the map to trap Awakening on top of Propane. Make sure that there's just nowhere for these Boston players to go.
All right, well, this is that same kind of passive play for the most part that we saw from Team Heretics in the last round, right? Just waiting for Boston to come to you. The difference, of course, this time is that Snoopy's not doing that. He's holding himself back. Vehicle, and the slightest of cracks is going to take Cammy down. Cammy's not going to expect that in a month for Sundays.
Real's on 6 in a row. Looks like he wants to take a swing over to this B side. Perch has no idea, and the timing works out. Real's not going to stop there. He wants more. He's flipping this map yet again. Snoopy's going to spot him, but it's a 1v4 for Snoopy. And again, there's just nowhere to go. Everybody on Heretics is all over Boston right now, not letting anybody out of sight.
I mean, Heretics are just playing that so well. That round was brilliant from them, even just from the first blood, right? Playing passively, they kind of get the idea that, hey, Boston aren't going to play into our hands, so let's send our own secret weapon up the map. Real, of course, the player that changed everything in Search and Destroy for Heretics when he joined the roster all the way back at the midpoint of the season. So now Boston Breach. Not up in this Search and Destroy. 1-3 down. Real on 7 in a row. Cruise missile ready to go. First blood, Setnade's looking pretty good. Cammy down for the count. And that bomb, while it initially looked like it was going to go towards A, you get a bit of a nice little route here towards B. Lucky should be ready for this one, though, and he is, but not enough for the frag. Lucky's going to have to back up.
Yeah, Lucky's still on 0 kills, albeit up 3-1 for the team. That would have been a great kill to find. But still Boston looking for a way in, and there is none. Lucky's going to shut down Awakening, and Purge gets spotted. Snoopy again in a 1v4. Nice shots there onto the player up top, but again, it's just not enough for Boston. These first bloods are just so elusive, and every time they look to make a play and work the map faster than Heretics, they're always caught by somebody sitting with their iron sights. You need to start seeing these ARs of Wake and Cammy start to work for some power positions, whether it's going to be on the attack and sitting over towards that green hut, try to watch the cross over towards that B Street, or maybe fighting for top helipad as well. You need to start seeing Awakening and Cammy start to provide some support for these SMGs. You can't rely on them to open up the map every time.
I think on the other hand, Team Heretics are relying on their SMGs. You've got Real on 8 in a row, Vehicle on 4 in a row as well. Snoopy will at the very least draw first blood. Again, a different look thrown by Boston Breach here as they get aggressive in this defensive effort. Bomb will now have to be retrieved by Metals. So Heretics now looking for a way back into this round. This is a great start for Boston.
It's a great call from Purge to work alongside Snoopy just in case they needed that trade. But map control, and I don't know if Purge actually saw Real slide across. If not now, then Cammy's going to see him, and that's 2 down for Heretics. Finally, Boston Breach with some control in it, but it's still not over just yet.
Yep.
Snoopy's going to go down, and Lucky's going to fall as well. 1v3 for Metals.
Yep, Metals now looking to try and make a clutch up happen. It's not going to work. First blood for Boston Breach. They silence Heretics in that round. And that's what you need, right? You just need to try and match the effort. I think Snoopy, they are better for it when he's the player looking for those opening engagements, looking for those first bloods. But I think that's been the key differentiating factor right now between these two teams. If Snoopy wins that first blood, they are good.
Yeah. It's a battle of subs between Snoopy and Real. And if they can get going, if Omit can unlock the frog here. Sorry, Boston.
Feels weird, right?
This is going to be a new look for this team. It's 4-2 for Heretics. Not 4-4 right now. And again, you're looking for that first blood here if you're awakening. Here's the streak from Real. So they want to put the dagger in. They want to look for that round 5 or that fifth round. And hoping that the cruise missile can draw it. Just not going to find any marks.
Cruise missile down for the count. Team Heretics will force Boston Breach all the way back into their spawn. You're just draining time off the clock here. Boston looking for a way in. Nade over the top. You know you got to take Lucky out of position. Then Nade will bring him down to 83 HP. Elsewhere, Metals and Real are falling out the round here. So the fact that Lucky is still alive is a miraculous feat. And Lucky's going to find value. Elsewhere, Vikal has also found another. And all of a sudden here, Purge left up, sandwiched between these last remaining players, just trying to dip and dive away. Will at the very least pick Lucky up. Now the 1v1.
28 seconds. Purge reading it right, but he looks away the time. And Vikal's going to take the round. 5-2 for Team Heretics. And in that round, Lucky going monumental on the propane. Not one, but 2 kills towards the end there to back up Vikal. And this Heretics roster, they just continue to surprise you in the search and destroy. It's just so good at winning their individual fights.
Heretics finding a way to clutch up. Boston starting to claw back rounds here. Down in this search and destroy. Heretics looking for a way to close this one out. It's going to be Real, who sat inside the B site. You're not going to expect him if you're there. There's not an immediate trade. Real looking for this nade to bounce. Will it be a posthumous kill? Yes, it will. Wake might take Real down, but Real's nade is just a little bit better. 2 versus 2 we go.
Yeah, Snoopy's going to keep this in a 2-on-2, so you got a minute left. Lucky's looking to make the play in a round. Brody, this could be a 2 versus 1. Cammy doesn't expect it. It's all down to Snoopy.
And you know where he is as well. Snoopy is in such a tough spot here. Deddy activated. He's going to run right into Metal. Stunned up. Lucky will finish him off. Heretics now closer and closer to the tying up this series at 1-1. Fist bumps out.
And that's going to be that for the search and destroy. Brody. Team Heretics winning things out there by isolating Snoopy and taking the map, so they tie up the series heading in towards the control. This Boston Breach team, you can see that they're not really fazed by that at all. I mean, you know that, these 3 members that have been added to this roster, they have that composure to play through the gauntlet that is challengers. And Snoopy, he's been there, he's done that. So you know that they can go the distance. You know that they can fight against adversity. And now after losing that search and destroy, heading into the control, you're back into the respawn, which they just took away from the likes of Heretics in a very comfortable fashion towards the latter end of that Rio. So this is a Boston team that, though you're not winning your search and destroys it just yet, the respawns were looking good there.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit confused towards the end of that because we had a 4-2 up on our screen. I was like, why is this 4-2? And I was convinced that it wasn't the end of the search and destroy because we were being told incorrect information. But it's okay. That's why it actually did end 5-2. It's all right. It was a dominant search and destroy there from Team Heretics. And, I think, just early on in that search and destroy, the SMG started to heat up. There's no real way for them to do anything about it. And I think even the couple of rounds where they didn't feel that convincing. So Boston Breach outclassed in the search and destroy despite what we saw from them in the Challenger season as Omit Brooklyn. So 1-1 now in the series. Team Heretics able to tie things up. We're going to the swing game in control very soon, but first we're going to go to a break. On the other side, swing game control. We'll see you there.
We are being sabotaged.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Alrighty, folks, welcome back here to the Esports World Cup. We finally have a series that's not a 3-0 on our hands here on the B broadcast between Boston Breach and the Team Heretics side. Team Heretics feel like they've stabilized now after losing yet another hardpoint. Maybe the woes have continued from champs. Now, though, they 6-2 the Search and Destroy. And next up, we have a Control, our first swing game of the day.
I think a lot of things change for these teams in terms of heading in towards this tournament. I think for, Miami, they're just fully solidifying this this roster, but for Boston, the whole roster change for themselves. Still having Search and Destroy issues, and Heretics still having hardpoint issues, Brody. So at least some things stay the same when we're heading into these matches. But for an Invasion Control coming up next for map number 3, this is a big point for the side of Boston to keep their respawns strong, because you got Wake and Cammy heading into a map like Invasion that is going to play very good towards these two. And if Cammy can perform like he did back on that Rio where he was just putting in unbelievable slaying numbers, I think then you'll start to see players like Snoopy and Purge work through the map like you expect the subs on Invasion to take that space. So lots of eyes on towards the ARs of Boston, and for the other side, on their counterparts. I think right now for their opponents, you kind of like look to do the same if you are Heretics. You're looking to try to make those openings for Real to get those pop-off moments, because Real is just keeping them alive in that hard point on Rio. And if you cannot give him that space, you're going to struggle against this Boston team.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think this Boston team right now, I think, off the back of that number 2, my worry is that they're not going to be feeling it, right? That they're going to be kind of shaken by what was a pretty dominant scoreline in the Search and Destroy in favor of Team Heretics. Now Team Heretics are underway here in this series. Can they continue things momentum in towards the Control? Let's see as we get into this map number 3. It's Invasion. We want the Search and Destroys to get Control early on for Team Heretics. That might be the case. Vickle will find one, but immediately shut down.
Yeah, Cammy, Wake, big shutdown there, but trades still ensue. Wake's going to be on this B zone, and it looks like Metal's going to take a look there. Nice shots from Metals to take that pressure off B for now. Still, Boston have to fight for this and find some kills, and Cammy's looking to provide that support, but the kills do not come through. Heretics is going to get that wipe over towards B, and I look to push up this map with Wake going down. Now Boston suddenly in trouble of a potential spawn trap.
Yeah, Vehicle trying to play his life though. Big double coming through from Snoopy there as Team Heretics now looking to get control. Trophy system going to be down now from Cammy. Boston Breach in control. If you're lucky up top, I was going to say you're going to try and play your life and play all sneaky like for the rest of the Team Heretics side to do something about this B approach. I don't think they can anymore.
I think you got to chalk up B at this moment. Awakening is in such a good spot to cut off the rotations that are Heretics players looking to get aggressive through that A street. Metal's going to be spotted. Real as well looking to take this fight. Awakening has to back down, but you look at the pressure from Boston as they're hunting down these players. Another 2 down in the feed. Nobody's going to be able to get towards that A zone just yet, but Heretics are struggling to find some control here.
Heretics going to have to hit a reset. Purge is still hanging about here, trying to be sneaky. And they're on the hunt for him. You can see like the way the player number 5, Lucky, is spinning about on the map right now. They are hunting for these players. Cammy and Snoopy will now activate, and that should give the go signal here to Purge to also look for the kill. He'll do exactly that activation against Lucky. Now, how much more value can Purge find on this flanking play? Another kill against Real. Boston Breach are here to play, and Purge is now on 5 in a row as well.
Yeah, Purge looking for that streak. You got a triple stack on towards A and so many trophies. Snoopy gonna be watching the cross with the MCW in hand. He's just looking to buy some time. Nobody's gonna get there to touch. And Boston with an explosive take on towards that A zone with only 9 lives. Wow, what a round.
Man, that is an insane round. Honestly, I got to give props to Purge to be the player I think that really did get everything done there for Boston Breach. You're absolutely fuming if you're a Team Heretics. Purge plays his life perfectly, and I'll give credit to Team Heretics because it felt like at least for a moment they were on the hunt for them. They didn't have anybody in map positioning to deal with the players coming off the respawn, and as soon as more kills came through for Boston Breach, Purge goes ultra towards the end of that control round. He activates on 5 in a row now, wants to continue that momentum in towards the next, and there is player number 6.
Yeah, there's the cruise missile now for an extra tool on Boston Breach. Their dominance in the respawn still continuing as the slaying has just leveled up for the Breach. Purge finally going to drop, and Metals will extend over towards that A zone for a second, but Snoopy catches him before things get out of hand for Boston, and now looks like the Breach are going to have to group together to see if they can slowly retake this B zone. And fortunately for them, only 1 player is sitting there for Heretics, so they have time.
Yeah, if you're awake now, you're just trying to play your life. Free position here against Real. Shots through the wall. Not going to connect to anything, but closer towards home, closer towards the point. Cammy is doing everything. He only needs the foot of Vehicle to pick up that kill. Only 2 ticks were given away towards Heretics here before they're sent back towards their spawn point. And now you've got players in power positions. Purge push forward will at the very least get shut down. But you're going to be looking at 4 ARs here from Boston Breach just staring you down as you've come off the spawn.
Yeah, the spawn trap is in for the Heretics, trying to work out of their spawn right now. They don't want to go down 0-2 in this controls. They need to reach this B zone and extend the time, but now Snoopy's on 5 in a row. He's looking for a cruise of his own, punching at his teammates. Can he get that streak? Yeah. So 2 cruise missiles for Boston, 32 seconds for Heretics to try to bring things back in this control, but I think Boston are just going to use one of those cruise missiles right now. Yeah, it finds nothing, but it buys time for Boston to set up.
That's not the end of the world. You've garnered yourself a, 9 life advantage now, down to 7. Vehicle finds 1. Good trades from Lucky. That's going to be B gone. And a good read on towards Cammy. He was trying to put a flanking play together as well. So for Boston here, it's not actually as secure as it once was. Boston having to deal with all these encroaching players. Vehicle gets found out, as does Lucky. Team Heretics, they're trying to make something happen individually here in the transition, but it's not really working.
Purge is going to get caught. It's another set of kills for Heretics working out of their spawn. Next up to bat is going to be Wake, setting up towards the middle of the map. But you have 3 players pressuring out the spawns of Boston. And Metal's going unaware. Snoopy's going to jump around the corner. It's a 2-for-2 trade. No. Metal's being hunted. Cammy with a big win, and 3 down for the Heretics. Puts them back off the respawn with only 5 lives left.
Yep. That's the biggest problem at the moment. Heretics, not really many chances to win this control. They've definitely tried with some individual efforts. You just saw one there from Metals. Snoopy now heating up. Oh, switches weapon at the wrong time. Will not be able to win the fight against Metals. It's okay, though. The team trades are looking pretty good. Cammy traded out by Real, but it's just down to the subs now. Real and Vickle in this situation, 15 seconds left for them to produce a miracle, turn water into wine. And I don't know if we're going to get that. Vickle, he's a phenomenal player. A 1 versus 10, though, I think is even out of his reach.
I'm going to keep gassing up the breach because this roster change is just so good for them in the respawns. And Cammy is playing unbelievably well today inside of both the hardpoint and now into the control as well. He's 16 and 8 here. He was doing all the work in the AR role back on that Rio for the comeback that they did make. And this is giving me some flashbacks to Cold War Cammy, the way that he played back with that Craig. I mean, he is shooting some beamers with this MCW, Brody, and it is so delightful to watch. Everybody really playing well here, though, on the breach side. And Heretics down 0-2 in the control. This will not lose you the series, but you do not want to lose it this convincingly.
Boston Breach, 2-0 up in this control. Team Heretics looking for a way to put a stop to all of that craziness. It's not looking like it's going to happen. Still one player hanging about around the B point on defense here. It's Real. Boston Breach well aware of it. They're just trying to run rings around him. And, well, they'll lose one man in the play. It does not really make that much of a difference. It's a bit of a split offense here as well for Boston Breach. They're putting players onto both of these points. There's no way Snoopy gets away with yet another frag. He will not. But for Boston Breach, you're okay with this. You've got options. You've got ways to play out this round. Metals, though, comes through with a double by B and might have put a stop to one of them.
And for Heretics, you've really limited the success of Boston off of that splish push that they had, because only one segment over towards B, they get nothing at A. And now Boston are really bottlenecked in what they can do, so they're going to send 3 members over towards this A zone, and they lose one on the cross. So it's just these last 2 players hoping to get some segments here at A.
It's a good start for Vickle. Purge down to his last life. Yeah, he's going to get shut down as well. So I will say on the whole here, Team Heretics have done a really good job of keeping Boston Breach at bay. Lucky now wants yet another frag here. He's got backup on the way for the rest of the team. For the moment, though, Lucky's going to have to get it done all by himself. He's going to get shut down by Cammy. So Boston Breach now can once again stop the clock with 39 seconds. Double headshots coming through. Wake finds value through the middle of the map. Surely yet not another one. Wake, what on earth is that absolutely bananas play from Wake? And he looks like he's not going to stop. Lucky will finally get it done. But Wake getting those 3 kills is the reason that they're able to capture B.
Yeah, Wake is going to absolutely giga on this control right now. He should be cleaned up, and with that, the confirmation of a potential round 5 defense for Boston if we do reach it. But Boston have closed this advantage that Heretics once had. It's now 15 lives playing 12. Boston have a minute 30, and now 4 down. This could be it for Invasion.
This could be it. Team Heretics having to deal with players watching their spawn. Wake, not again! Surely not! They're beaming all the way through them! Boston Breach are making Team Heretics look like the previous amateurs. And a 3-0 in this control is one of the most dominant scorelines we've seen all day.
I mean, you come into this series saying there's 2 amateur teams in your group, and Boston are playing you like a fiddle in the respawns. A clutch up in towards the Rio hardpoint and a 3-0 sweep in the control. And they have activated here today, Brody, at EWC. You can see the coaches come on board as we're getting ready for that hardpoint in map number 4. But I'm sure there's some stuff to talk about there for the Heretics to clean up, especially considering all the map control they kept on giving up onto both sides. Some overcommitments on reacting to the A pressure. There's players doubling up and getting 2-pieced over and over again over on that defense. And I think for this hard point, you're a little bit worried here if you're the Heretics. Your respawns just have not been there.
I don't know what else to say, mate. To be honest with you, that control was so quick. It was so damn quick from Boston Breach, especially that final round where the ARs just take full control. Heretics just didn't really even look like they were in the conversation for the most part. They were just being shut out pretty much at every single turn. Heretics did not really have that much of a response, especially, again, those last 2 rounds. And you point towards the respawns, right? At the very least, Heretics were competitive in the first hard point of this series, right? I mean, it's the same story that Heretics have had for basically the entirety of like, what, Champs to now, right? Where they didn't win a hard point at Champs, albeit the games were close. You've not won a hard point in this series, albeit that game was close. But still, like, it's felt like for that control, certainly, Boston Breach in the driver's seat, absolutely 100% of the time.
Yeah, and now heading into a 6-star for that 4th 4th map across the season. Heretics, they have a lot of reps on this map mode combo, 4 and 7 to be exact, for the 6-star hardpoint. On the other side, you didn't really see a lot out of the Boston team before they made these changes. They were 1 and 7 on the 6-star hardpoint. It wasn't the map that they felt most comfortable on, but after watching that performance on the Rio and the way that Cammy has been playing here, it's been providing a lot of opportunity for Snoopy to really reach his max potential like we've been expecting Snoopy to do. And if you let Snoopy, again, reach that level here on the 6-star, it can get super mixy. This is a very fast-paced map. There's a lot of routes to be ran. And I hope that Heretics can finally get a grasp on this Boston pressure, start finding some lanes and locking it down.
Yeah, it feels kind of weird in a way, right? Because if Boston now win this series here, if they get this done in 4, this, technically speaking, wouldn't count as a victory for the Challengers teams, because obviously it's Boston, right? Boston have basically uplifted the Challengers teams, basically promoted 3 of those players to the CDL as part of their roster. But it still does feel, at least for you and us, right? It's like, yeah, this is like the first Challengers victory. This is basically the Omit Brooklyn side from the 2024 Challengers season. It does definitely feel that way, even though even that has its own kind of asterisk on the conversation. The top level of challenges, and this is something we noted about the kind of the Challengers Grand Finals, if you will, it's basically all just ex-CDL players or CDL players that are subs.
I want to kind of put a little asterisk on that as well, because although you look at your lore and some of them are former CDL players, haven't really been in the league for a while, on this Boston team, you have 4 members who started in the CDL this year. Cammy on 100 Thieves, Awakening on Minnesota Rocker, and Purge on Las Vegas Legion. These are 3 players who fell this year into the CDL. So they've been into the CDL, they fell out, and now they're back into a CDL roster. I mean, they have those reps, they've been around the block, and for others who have been out of the CDL for a while, it's not the same for this Boston team. So as they do elevate back into the breach, Brody, I feel like this is where these players belong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. This is a chance now for these players to prove that this is where they deserve to be, right? And I think, for all 3 of the players, really, I want to give a special shout out, to be fair. And this isn't an indictment against Purge or something. Purge plays his role perfectly. But I think specifically looking at Cammy and Awakening for the side of Boston Breach, I think this team is just, I think looking at them, those players in Challengers, very often players in Challengers will just kind of go down to Challengers from CDL, and they won't do that well. For these guys, they drop down to Challengers, and they just fry. That's exactly what you want to see. Yeah, they won things. So I think for those guys in particular, got to give them some love, leading all the way back towards Season 2 of Challengers Elite. It looks like they want some momentum going in towards this map number 4, though. They want to get this one done here. They opened things up with a wave of gunfights to begin with.
Yeah, an immediate 4 down, 2 out of Wake. Purge is going to be watching that water side of the map. He's getting the early shots in, slides with the Renetti and cleans up Lucky. You have full lockdown right now for Boston. A couple of members from Heretics are looking to battle their way in. Awakening gets overwhelmed by pressure, but now it's Purge's turn. Back and forth for the Heretics as they need to start getting in towards this time. But again, they're shut out. This time it's Snoopy to pop off with 3.
Brilliant 3-piece coming through from Snoop. Boston Breach now off the back of that. Looking for control. Real for the middle of the map, though, will double up here. So good start from Real at 4 and 2. It's not going to do Heretics any good. They're going to have to be the ones to break over by New. And Real already starting things off in a good way. Wake will find 1 trades, though, looking pretty good. If you're a Boston Breach, you're going to continue to get help from those back spawns as well. All of a sudden, Fecal, the last one left alive, as Purge doubles up. He can't do anything.
Yeah, you have a full setup from Breach yet again with near a 32-point lead. Awakening's going to be playing through the middle of the map, and for Heretics, they need to start finding these kills and putting some pressure on towards that hard point, which they're not going to have. It's just Purge here trying to defend, and that's 3 down for Boston, and they get the spawns in the back, but now some time that Heretics need to lock down.
Got to win this time. And those back spawns, I think, are just the biggest issue, right? Snoopy comes through for the double. Boston Breach, once again, who will be able to win the back set of time. Heretics hit in trouble. They're going to have to reset for New. At the very least, Lucky doing a good job at keeping these guys at bay through the middle of the map, but you don't have anybody by that P3 hardpoint, or P4 hardpoint, excuse me. So for Team Heretics, you're reliant on the fact that you hold these back spawns, you hold close to this hill. Boston Breach.
Get a split push.
Yep.
2 people through the middle of the map looking to flank this one out, Brody. Purge and Snoopy looking to make some work here, and Fickle's in trouble.
Gets overwhelmed by Snoopy towards the front of the hard point. All of a sudden here, Boston Breach have won the opening set of gunfights. Disaster strikes for Heretics, and Purge makes the situation even worse as well. He doubles up. One more player to the backline to contend with. It's Real, who is being hunted down. Purge knows he's there. Real, you can try to stay hidden if you want. It's not going to work.
And it's just the pressure that Boston puts on for those breaks from not only the back of the hill, but the front of the hill. They hit it at the exact timing that they needed to. And the breaks just look so dang easy for Boston. Heretics will battle in for at least stopping Boston from getting the back half of this time easily. But you need to start seeing the Heretics not only work these rotations, but set up on those power positions and hold the rotations, because they are getting broken way too easily.
Not again. Surely not again. Purge and Snoopy combined for 3. Heretics could not hit the wide side of a barn door right now. Everything is just going awry for them. Snoopy now starting to force the issue once again. And you can definitely tell Boston are feeling themselves here. The SMGs have not only woken up, they are fully in control of this game. Purge for yet another double. Fecal trying to play his life, overwhelmed by Awakening on the point every single time. It looks like Heretics have something to say. They are shut down. They are silenced by Boston.
I mean, I talked about it being Snoopy and Cammy back in the first hard point, but this time it's Snoopy and Purge, the sub-duo. Just relentless pressure. Purge now with that cruise missile in the back pocket as well for the breach. Their lead 126-32. Purge is snapping at backing up his teammates over towards the second set of rotations. I mean, Heretics down a whole 100 points. You feel like it has to be now or never that you put together a solid set of time in these hills.
There we go. Heretics, you need to start things strong now. Otherwise, you're going to be in the lower bracket of your group before you know it. Good
Cruise
start,
missile.
though, on this second set. Yeah, Cruise Missile coming through here from Boston Breach. It's going to unsettle Heretics. I think it's going to be a slow Cruise Missile as well. Purge actually finds a kill with it. You need to find for turn 5 for Heretics, and it's just not to be.
Yeah, they push the extremities and they lose their battles. Boston with another break with 30 seconds left on this time. They can push their lead to 160, and Snoopy now flooding in towards the outside of the map. Another kill for Purge and Snoopy, and Heretics are deflating on 6-star.
I don't even know if it's deflating. I don't know if they were ever inflated, to be honest with you, mate. Heretics here just have not had anything to work with whatsoever. For the first time in this game, it feels like they've actually got a rotation that should be theirs, and they'll continue to get back spawns as well. Snoopy, overwhelmed. Good set of gunfights here for Heretics. Finally, something positive to talk about.
Yeah, Fickle just needs to slow down, hold his life through mid, but there's a spawn in the back for Boston, and that might be trouble. It's Snoopy through the fence. Can he get the break? He will. Lucky taken away, and that's going to send Heretics, everybody turning around to look to back things up, and Snoopy running routes around. They cannot catch this frog.
He's looking for it, looking for more. Snoopy's still finding value here somehow. Snoopy is providing a masterclass in movement right now, just being a constant nuisance for Team Heretics. Has he bought enough time and space, though? Lucky can't find him. Snoopy's still playing his life around here. He's done exactly what he needs to do. Awakening and Cammy find their way through the front. Awakening also finding more value. And it's worth saying as well, those back spawns for Heretics are still there. This is not good for a rotation.
Yeah, Cammy working on holding things down. It's going to be Purge watching the back spawns for new. Caught on the rotation, and everything looking good for Boston. Nothing looking good for Heretics. Another 100-point lead for the Boston Breach, and Awakening set up through mid, won't win that battle, but everybody from Heretics funneling on through from 1 point.
How does this keep on happening? Just across the board right now, Heretics do not look like the same Heretics we've seen in hardpoint pre-champs. Things just not working out for them whatsoever. Real, the only one to find any value whatsoever in that ensemble of fights, and he's going to get shut down as well. Team Heretics forced away. Boston Breach looking for kills. Cammy and Purge will find them. Real going to trade things out, as is Metals, though. Now of Heretics, they're knocking at the door at the very least. They're looking to use the neutralize the contest spot, but Real is going to get shut down. Nothing is working for Heretics.
Nothing at all, Brody. 209-77. This is a masterclass in the hard point, and Snoopy is tearing them apart. 20. This is Boston's game to lose.
This is the Snoopy that was promised. Boston Breach putting a beating down on Heretics at this point. Once again, another rotation loss. Boston just 20 points away from victory. Heretics here One last hurrah towards the point. Lucky gonna find something. Vehicle for the contest on the other side. Purge on the hunt for the kill. He will find it. And now Snoopy overextending in towards the office to bring this game home in behind enemy lines. He finds a couple of kills. Lucky for one. Is that good enough here? Heretics still desperately trying to contest.
Awakening around the corner. Heretics still in it. Purge next up. He finds one, but he's going to have to back up. And there's still members here from Boston. There's still time to put it away.
Flanking play from Real. Does that find any value? Yes, it does. Trade looking good for Awakening. Purge towards the point. Will only find one. Good double from Metals. Snoopy's going to utilize the streak here. No matter what, Boston Breach can't finish things off this hard point. So you might want to bring it down towards the middle of the map and all. That's
Team
not
kill.
that great. Cammy going to get shut down by a cruise missile from the team. Vehicle off the back of it will double up. So there is life yet in Heretics, but it's worth saying they are on life support.
I mean, they're not going to wither out of this game just yet, Parodi. Still only 13 seconds for Boston to win this game, so Heretics need to play perfect, but it's a clean 4 down, and this is it.
This might be it. Can Heretics even get close at the end of this game? They might be done. Hardpoint once again. The thing that befalls them here in this game, players aren't even moving away from the spawn. And Boston Breach, they blew it up, and it was the right decision as they take a series away from Heretics and start the Esports World Cup strong.
The first win for Boston Breach, and I don't know how long we didn't get to see them at Champs. They reshaped their roster, and their hardpoints look unreal.